And a good evening. Welcome out to Little Woodrow's here in the Colonnade Shopping Center. Time now to talk Lamar University football. It's the Coach Blane Morgan Show. Coach, the Cardinals this past week going up to Dallas. You knew you had your work cut out for them. It's your annual FBS game. Also, we got two of them this year later on against New Mexico State. But this past Saturday up at Gerald R. Ford Stadium in Dallas, SMU, a very good G5 program. And I think it was a good test. Of course, the setback was 45-16, but I think it was a good setback for the Cardinals.
Yeah,
a good test for the Cardinals. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it was. It was a good, really measuring stick to see where we're at as a team and as a program, and really just to see how our guys would compete against really good competition. Going in, the previous week they had scored 31 points in the first half against North Texas, so you're a little bit nervous about that, going in. Like, man, I hope we can be competitive and hang with these guys, and our guys did. Despite just basically handing them 14 points,
right,
turning the ball over inside our own territory, which you just can't do against a good team and expect to have success. And we did that, and then we held them to a field goal on the third drive, and then we rallied. We had a really good drive in the second quarter and held the ball for 8 minutes, I think, and showed a little bit of grit on offense, and had 2 fourth downs we converted. So that was certainly positive, and I think something you can build off of.
Mike Chandler on the game, 10 out of 25, 127 yards. You also brought Nick Yockey in to see some action in the fourth quarter, 3 for 7, 21 yards. Just talk about Mike's performance from week 1 against Abilene Christian to this past Saturday against SMU.
Yeah, so Mike in week 1, I thought he wasn't very comfortable in the pocket. He didn't step up in the pocket. He didn't his missing reps in fall camp really showed up. And so we went back in week 2 and just said, hey, we need him. We need you to step up in the pocket. We need you to trust your protection a little better. And he did a nice job of really what he's done is he's taken coaching really well, and he's growing up. And he did a better job of that. We left about 3 or 4 throws out there that probably would have been enormous plays in the game. 2nd and 20 going into the red zone. We got a guy running free on a far cross, and he just needs to step up and make that throw and catch. And there were a couple that we just left out there that you'd like to have back. But he is improving and continues to show improvement. He's working hard in practice.
Talk about Nick Yockey. We said you brought him in.
Yep.
You just want to get him some reps. You want to get him some snaps.
Yeah.
What do you think about his performance in limited action?
Yeah, I thought he did a nice job. We kept the offense pretty basic, and we didn't want to do anything crazy with him and with our second O-line in there. And he made on 4th down, he made a nice move to the left, made a throw, and we had a drop and probably would have scored on the play. And so he's going to come in. He's an older guy who's played a little bit more, and he's going to be poised. And what he's got to do is just operate the offense and get experience within our offense doing that. And he had a really good fall camp, like we've talked about before.
Right. On the rushing game, Kalen Griffin had a rushing touchdown for you, and I thought your running game, of course, looked better than they did in game 1.
Yeah, our O-line played a lot better. I thought we knew going into the game exactly what front we were going to get. Kind of got fooled in the preparation of the first game, and so being able to rep that front, even though we knew they were going to be very stout inside, there were times I thought we really pushed on. I mean, I had 9 seniors, 4 seniors on their defensive front, squatty bodies inside that were going to be hard to move. And I thought there were times that we showed a very serious physicality and knocking guys off the ball, and that was exciting to see and on the tape. And hopefully we can build off of that.
You look at a kid. Now we've talked about him every week in the past. I'm sure we'll talk about him every week in the future. Jalen Dume. This is a kid that played quarterback for you last year. You look in the stats, you see receiving yards, you see rushing yards. This guy's going to help you in all different aspects of the game.
Got 8 touches on Saturday, and you're only going to see him get more touches. I mean, he's the most electric guy with the ball, but we've got to keep him healthy. We've got to keep him healthy and keep him going because we've got conference play coming up here very soon, and so he's going to touch the football. We're not very smart if we don't get him touches. And number 7, Savon Ray, is an electric receiver. It's just, as a coach, having those guys, having a Kalen Griffin, having a Devin Gibbs who caught a ball in the flat and took it for 14 on 3rd and 16, I think. Having those players makes it easier as a coach to be able to call plays and create and get those guys the ball in space. And that's what we got to do this week on Saturday.
You talked about number 7, Savon Ray. Of course, you go to him. I mean, he had the big 75-yard touchdown reception against Abilene Christian in the season opener. He's also back there as a punt returner. So another good athlete with a lot of speed.
Yeah, and he did a nice job. There was a punt that the guy hit pretty good, and he fielded it confidently, had to back up, and fair caught it on our own 10. And he and Jalen are just awesome guys to be around. They bring an older maturity to practice, and they're pros. I mean, they go about their business and they're fun because they work every single day and they want to be good and they want to win. And that's what's exciting about the program and the direction we're moving is we've got so many more guys that are serious about working hard, and at the end of the day, that's what it takes, a bunch of guys pulling together and working hard and going and executing in practice so you can do it in the game.
Get the special team player of the week with Chris for the Southland Conference, and he had a good ball game.
Yeah, I'm really excited about the direction we're going with our special teams. We had one good team last year. Our punt return team blocked a punt, did some good things, and I think we'll be in the top 20 again in that team. But I really like how Alfonso's hitting it. Punting the football, he's doing a really good job hitting the ball well. We're covering well. Their punt returner was super electric on Saturday and basically held him, and backed him up. And then our kickoff return teams, we've got some electric returners there. So I'm just excited moving forward, getting into these next few games and see how I think we'll make some pretty electric plays on those and some game-changing momentum plays on those teams.
Defensively, talk about your defense with Tyler Jackson leading the way, 7 tackles.
Yeah, I thought they just didn't back down. I thought they played. The offense put them in some bad spots, and they fought hard. And I thought they played hard and competed very well. And you look at their offensive line. I mean, they're absolutely huge. And there were a couple times they got bodies on bodies and moved us a little bit. But I thought we competed. I thought our DBs competed and played pretty well and pretty hard. And just keep those guys keep growing. I mean, 2 weeks in a row, I think our defense is the effort, and that's kind of a pinnacle of our program, as we talk about it all the time, is how hard are those guys going to play. And I think the first 2 weeks, the effort level has been, and I hope the fans and the people that are watching see that, how hard those guys on defense are playing, and we want to match that, on the offensive side.
And before we wrap up this first segment, it was a homecoming of some sort for you. Matter of fact, I had the opportunity to visit with your older brother Bo at halftime. He came up for a halftime interview, getting to play in front of a family and friends and things along those lines. Although the outcome of the game is not what you wanted, but that had to be special going back to the Metroplex and playing where you grew up.
Sure, my dad was at the game. 2 of my teammates from high school were there, and that's always special. Just going back to a place you grew up and playing in that stadium and having those people there is just, and having, I think my brother gave our chapel talk.
Right.
So that's just very special, and those are moments you'll remember for a long time.
I did ask him about the ping pong paddle. I asked him about the hole I asked him about the hole in the family garage. His response was, ask him how many holes he put in the house himself. All right, again, we are at Little Woodrow's. I'm Harold Mann, along with Coach Blane Morgan, talking Lamar University football. Going to get our first break in. When we return, we're going to talk about activities taking place off the field for Lamar University. That's up next on News Talk 560 KLVI. Harold Mann with you. We are back at Little Woodrow's Culinary Shopping Center here in Beaumont Phelan Boulevard, not far from Dowling Road. It's the Coach Blane Morgan Show, talking Lamar University football each and every Wednesday night through the duration of the football season. Joined now by Jeff Sperry, who's the Associate Vice President for University Advancement at Lamar. Jeff, first off, before we talk about what you're going to talk about, it's our first chance to sit down and visit with you. Welcome to Southeast Texas and Lamar University. Tell us about the background a little bit.
Thanks, Harold. I've been at Lamar for about 5 years, but this is the first year that I've really had a significant role within athletics. So what I do is basically manage the fundraising program for Lamar University. I've been doing this at various universities for 26 years. I come from Florida originally and had an opportunity to come to Lamar in 2017, and it's been a fantastic move for me. I really, really enjoy Lamar, and I really enjoy Beaumont.
A couple things I want to talk about, and the one I got to release in front of me was the launching the Cardinal Athletic Fund. Tell us about that. What's that partake in, and how can the community get involved?
So for a little historical background, for many years we had the Cardinal Club that kind of managed what we in my world call annual giving, the $10, $100, $500 gifts to support athletics. A couple of years ago, we went away from that and reconstituted it as something called the Bud Leonard Athletic Fund. And then with the arrival of Dr. Taylor as our president, we felt that the branding of the program, we all love Bud Leonard, we all remember Bud Leonard fondly, but to go out into the community and market that, there was kind of a disconnect. So we wanted to use the Cardinal branding in a very meaningful way, and so what we've done is taken that Bud Leonard Athletic Fund and we're recasting it as the Cardinal Athletics Fund, which is the primary driver of fundraising to support Lamar University student athletes.
How can the community get involved and help out this fund?
So we're just debuting it. For example, tomorrow, something else we'll talk about, tomorrow and Friday is our Red Day, our Day of Giving, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But there'll be an opportunity to support Cardinal Athletics Fund through Red Day. But also, we will very shortly, I would say within the next month or so, have a brochure out there that will talk about the workings of the Cardinal Athletics Fund. Essentially, your gifts to support athletics will dictate how you qualify for tickets, for seating, for parking, for postseason opportunities should we go to the NCAA championships, for special events who have an opportunity to hear from coaches, to go to social events and things of that nature. So we're still kind of building it out right now, but we wanted to go ahead and get this Cardinal Athletics Fund name into people's minds and into people's hearts before our first home football game.
So more to learn down the road. We'll learn more and more about this as time progresses.
Yeah, we will. And one thing I also should mention is with regard to Bud Leonard, we're working on renaming the Letter Winners Club in honor of Bud Leonard. So we'll have an opportunity to recognize that. The family is very supportive of our efforts, and man, the sky's the limit for Lamar University Athletics and the Cardinal Athletics Fund.
Once again, out here at the Little Woodrows, the Coach Blane Morgan Show, visiting with Jeff Sperry, Associate Vice President for University Advancement. Red Day. Now, that's something else we want to talk about. Kicks off tomorrow. Tell us what this is all about.
So Red Day is our annual Day of Giving. You might be familiar with a lot of organizations and universities that have a giving day. We really started our first Day of Giving last year, very successful. The effort is not so much to raise dollars, although that's important, but to encourage people to give back to Lamar University. So we measure success on Red Day based on the number of donors that we have. So our goal is to get 500 donors to the university during that 24-hour period, noon tomorrow to noon Friday. And all you have to do is go to lamar.edu/redday, and you can choose where you'd like to make your gift, whether it's to athletics or some other part of the university. This is a full-on, full-court press effort to increase our outreach in terms of fundraising for the university.
You know, we've talked to Dr. Taylor about this, and new AD, Dr. O'Malley. We've talked to everybody, talking to you. How the community, Lamar just wants so much for the community. The relationship between Lamar and the university is so important.
Yeah, well, exactly, and we want the community to rally behind this. One thing that I have hoped to instill, or help with my team to instill at Lamar University, is this, what we call the culture of giving, the sense that Lamar University means so much to so many people, and here's an opportunity to give back. We're not saying you have to write a huge check. We're saying any gift and any amount makes a difference and includes you as part of a community of supporters for this great institution.
Future looking bright.
It really is. It's an exciting time to be affiliated with Lamar.
Jeff, thank you so much for stopping by out here at Little Woodrow's tonight. And again, recap Red Day and the new, I'm sorry, I'm blanking. Cardinal Athletics Fund.
Yes, sir. I appreciate the time. And everybody come out, lamar.edu/Red Day tomorrow and Friday.
All right, Jeff, we'll see you Saturday at Provo Humphrey Stadium.
Look forward to it. Go Big Red.
Go Cardinals. All right, again, Jeff Sperry, Lamar University. We're back with Coach Blane Morgan from Little Woodrow's on News Talk 560 KLVI. Harold Mann with you again. We're at Little Woodrow's talking Lamar University football, the Coach Blane Morgan Show. As always, we invite you to come on by and see us. We're here for the duration of the football season from 7 until 8 each and every Wednesday night. Not hard to find it all right here in the Colonnade Shopping Center on Phelan Boulevard, not far from the intersection of Dowland Road. And Coach, of course, we just had Jeff on with us. And as a head football coach, just talk about how much you appreciate what the programs are putting together to help our athletic programs.
Yeah, everything we do is for our student athletes, our kids, our players, and just appreciate so much all that goes into and everyone that contributes in that regard to. And it takes a lot. It really does with, our level and where we're at. We can't do what we do as a program and as an athletic department without a lot of generous donations. Summer school this summer and you go on and on and on. And so we're just so grateful and appreciative for those individuals that just love Lamar football and give generously and help our student athletes out.
You host Northern Colorado. More on them in just a second, but let's just talk about finally getting back to Provo Humphrey Stadium, 6 o'clock kickoff, and I know your focus, of course, can be the game and getting your team prepared, but just for the fans, how exciting it has to be with all the tailgating, the festivities, everything leading up to Saturday's game.
Yeah, I think it'll feel like a college football. It'll be an awesome college football environment, and our kids are just excited about being back home and playing in front of our home crowd. And we won't be on a bus for 5 and then 8 hours, and so that's where we practice every day, and so they're going to be in a comfortable environment. And I think what you'll see is a team that's very excited about playing on Saturday night.
Northern Colorado coming in very similar to the Cardinals. 0-2, an FCS opponent, an FBS opponent. They lost to HBU, future Lamar opponent, that final up in Greeley, 46-34. This past Saturday they go up to Laramie and they lose to Wyoming 33-10. And that was a tight ball game through most of it. And I think, Wyoming scored a couple of touchdowns in the fourth quarter to make that score look more lopsided than the game actually was.
Yeah, middle of the fourth quarter, they're sitting at 16-10, and I know, spend a lot of time in the Mountain West, know how physical and how competitive and how good Wyoming has been. Of course, the home of Josh Allen, and played against him a couple times, and so those guys going up there and doing that, they've got to feel like they've developed a little bit of confidence, and I think the same is for our guys as well, going up and competing like they did against a really good football team in SMU. So it'll be, you look at it from a personnel standpoint, and you see a lot of very similar bodies, a lot of similar athletes that we have on our side.
Looked like they used two quarterbacks against, if I looked at the stat sheet correctly, Dylan McCaffrey and Jacob Sermon. If they do continue to do that, the two quarterback rotation, what are the difference between the two quarterbacks, and what do you see?
Yeah, Dylan, is a Power 5 transfer, right, and he's a graduate, so he's an older, more experienced guy. With Dylan, what they'll do is the whole playbook is open, and so it's, they'll run some inside zone, read game, and then everything else. They're gonna drop back, they're gonna throw quick game, they're gonna get in 20 different formations. They're going to put formation into the boundary. They're going to do a lot of different things. And so what they're going to try to do is, really create matchups. Their tailback number 5 is a really good football. He's their best football player, and they're going to try to get him out in space and create with him.
with Dylan McCaffrey, all I do is look at the last name.
Yes.
I mean, his dad, Ed McCaffrey, of course, older brother Christian McCaffrey, has another brother on the coaching staff, another brother at Rice. So he's familiar. I mean, he's a football guy.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the pedigree of their head coach. Super Bowl, multiple, Super Bowl, championship ring. So it's it's an NFL pedigree, and so, that's certainly impressive.
Will we see them mix it up offensively? Will they go to the air or the ground? What's their DNA on offense?
They're going to be very balanced, and they're going to try to get the ball out of Dylan's hands, and they're going to read you, and they're a variety of things. They're going to play action you and take shots down the field, and so you've got to our guys have got to be on their P's and Q's, because they run as many sets and formations as I've seen an offense run. And so our defense has just got to be locked in, because when you blitz and you dial up different defenses and you're moving a lot, then you can't afford to have any bust. So they'll certainly take advantage of that.
And you might recall last year, of course we do, and went up to Greeley, got that overtime win. So two evenly matched football teams, and I think that kind of what we'll see Saturday.
Yeah, that's certainly what they're thinking. They're thinking coming in, hey, we played in overtime last year. They came into our house and got us, and so I'm sure there's a lot of motivation there coming in, and our guys have a lot of motivation. Two desperate teams, and we'll see. Between the two, like who's the most desperate team, and that's what I've talked about with our team this week.
Let's go back to that game up in Greeley last year, just a slow-moving game. The defenses were stepping it up, and they, in the closing minutes, kick a long field goal to go up. You guys came back downfield, kicked that field goal to force it to overtime, and then win it after that. So just some of the biggest memories from that game last year, getting a big road win.
Yeah, just that last play, the speed option, there to seal it, and just a lot of defense.
Yeah.
I mean, kind of an old school, like a Big Ten type game, and that's what you remember. But it's been a long time, so our guys are anxious to get back out on the field. Our guys are anxious to taste what that feels like to win again, and they've been working hard towards that. The process that it takes, and it's so hard to win in college football, no matter where you're at. It just takes so much work and so many things moving together, and our guys are moving in that direction and starting to feel like that process is moving into place.
Looking at them defensively, they've given up 79 points in their first two games, 46 against Houston Baptist, 33 against Wyoming. When you look at them defensively, what are some of your concerns?
Yeah, they are, and I mentioned that in the first game, and that Abilene Christian came out in a very stagnant front. They were very quirky. They were very, very different, and I would say that this team is the same. They're going to line up in something that they're going to give you a different look that you have not seen before, and they're going to kind of play bend but don't break defense. And then when you get in the red zone, they're going to heat you up a little bit, and they're going to try to blitz you and get you in a bad down and distance. And so the strategy has worked. I mean, they went from 100 and something to 60 something in their total defense last year. And so we've certainly got our work cut out for us. They're big up front, and so I'm excited to see our offense go and work. Being at home.
And saying that, being at home, you have 67 freshmen on your team. A lot of these guys have never played a home college football game. Just talk about the approach this week to have them realize, hey, it's fine and dandy, we're getting to play at home, but we're here to play a football game.
Yeah, the approach doesn't change. That's the thing that the really good teams that you're a part of, you just learn. Like, the approach is the same every single week. It doesn't matter. If you're playing SMU, Northern Colorado, who fill in the blank, the approach and the process just stays the same. And what you've got to do is you've got to learn you've got to be better. And I've been using this a lot. I used it from an old linebacker coach at Air Force. His name was Richard Bell, but he always used to say, "Better your best." So our best last week isn't good enough this week, and we've got to be better than that. And just that process of last week wasn't, we've got to be better this week. And so continually just working and refining that process, us as coaches refining our process of game planning and getting that down to more of a science and knowing what we're good at. And really at the end of the day, it comes down to going out and executing that. And we did a better job from week 1 to week 2. Let's say, we'll see if we can take a big step, being at home, being more comfortable from week 2 to week 3.
Do you see that in practice with the kids, the fire in their eyes?
What's completely different than it has been in the past is just the concentration and the focus on, you always say it, but we want everybody, whether they're in or they're out, to get the play, to take mental reps, and for each position to coach their own guys. And you're starting to see that. You're starting to see each position watching their guy in practice, and they're starting to coach themselves. They're getting the play, they're locked into practice. And so just that growth has been, as a coach, that's why you coach, is you want to see young guys grow into men, and just to see that process of them learning to practice better. And ultimately that's gonna help us just continue to elevate as a team.
Because you're absolutely right there, and it's good to see the players take that attitude, because you're one snap away from being out there.
Yeah, and you're always trying to remind them of that.
Yeah.
Quarterbacks, those guys are one snap away, and the third guy's 2 snaps away.
Right.
And so they need to realize that. I've been in that situation, as a coach and as a player.
We are visiting with Coach Blane Morgan, talking Lamar University football. We're at Little Woodrow's Colonnade Shopping Center in Beaumont on Phelan Boulevard. Inviting you to come out and see us. We're back talking more Lamar football on News Talk 560 KLVI. I'm Harold Mann, along with Lamar University head football coach Blane Morgan. We are at Little Woodrow's here in the Colonnade Shopping Center each and every Wednesday night through the duration of the football season, talking about the Cardinals and Northern Colorado coming up Saturday at Provost Humphrey Stadium. Cardinals come in 0-2, and in case someone didn't catch our first segment, let's recap a little bit about your first 2 ball games and how that prepares you. I mean, you have Northern Colorado coming up Saturday. I know coaches don't like looking ahead, but conference starts a week from Saturday, Natchitoches against Northwestern State, and these 3 non-conference games, what do you look at from your team to get ready for the Southland Conference?
Yeah, what you're starting out, you don't know exactly what you have when you start the year out, and you're trying to figure out how far your team, because you're going against yourself on offense and defense and special teams. You don't know when you play a game how your team's going to perform, and so that week 1, you go up to Abilene. You don't know how good you are. You don't know how good they're going to be, and you kind of go toe to toe with them, and you make some mistakes, but you go through a lot of adversity as a team. And then I thought we came together nicely to prepare for week 2, and all our guys knew exactly what they were going to face up at SMU. And at the end of the day, those guys competed the entire game for 60 minutes, and they did not back down. And they didn't quit. There wasn't anything negative on the sidelines, and they saw the game all the way through. And so what I see is just a change. There's a changing of the guard and changing of culturally of our program, and you're seeing leaders start to arise on the team, and as a coach, it's just very exciting to see where we started, and to start to see some of those things that a lot of fans maybe not seeing on the field yet, but we're seeing within our program. And so very soon, and hopefully this weekend, they'll start to see that live and in person, and see the culture of our team and how it's continued to evolve and develop. And we still only have, we got 5 upperclassmen that are playing on our team.
Exactly.
So we still are very young, but we've got guys that are growing and maturing, and that are playing, that are starting to play like older guys, and that's exciting to see, because ultimately you want to go win games. We're playing, and we're going, and we're trying to win games each and every week.
Is it easier to work with a younger guy say then an upperclassman following a loss when it comes to their keeping their confidence level, or does it really matter?
I think with a younger guy, you take them and you develop them. And so as a program, each and every day we talk about our process. The process of our program is showing up with a great attitude, and working with extraordinary effort. Like it takes a lot of great effort to practice 1,000 times before you get to play, and then you get to Saturday, and then you've got to execute. That's our third kind of pillar on our daily basis. And really those first two, I think we've hit the ticks for those first two games. And then the third one, we have got to start, our execution has just got to keep ticking up, and we've got to execute at a higher level each and every week. And if we can do that, we'll see. You talk about the process, and then that process leads to the end result, and that is winning games.
You talk about you have a roster 5 upperclassmen. What do you expect from these 5 to be driving the way, showing leadership to these younger players?
Yeah, we have a leadership council, and we talk with those guys, and there were 3 guys I pointed out. You look at a guy like Nathan Gaskamp. He played 25 snaps on Saturday, and then probably 10 or 15 on special teams. And it takes those guys. Hunter Batten, who probably saw 7-8 snaps on offense, and then played 10 snaps on special teams.
And he got downfield a couple times.
Yeah, and Jacoby Davis. Jeremy, probably in the shadow of his brother, kind of like I grew up. But again, played probably 15 plays on special teams. And those older guys are not starters, but what they're doing is they're really growing into their role, and they're really embracing it. And I pointed those guys out because they're what we want as a Lamar Cardinal, and that's selfless. Hey, you're going to have a role in this team, embrace it. And those guys have done a spectacular job of really embracing, and a few of them have been with us along the entire way. Those guys, everyone I've talked about, and that's why we brought Hunter Batten in, because he's an older kid that can be an example, and he's been awesome in that running back room for guys like Demaje Harris and R.J. Carver, and guys Major Bowden, and guys that are going to be really good players. But we brought a few guys in like that. Nick Yaki at quarterback, an older, experienced guy that is going to bring some maturity to the room. And so we sprinkled in those guys as transfers on purpose because we knew them and their character, and we wanted to have some examples of older leaders. And it's been great. It's been great for our young kids, and they're starting to embrace it, and they're starting to, when they start repeating the things that you're saying, then you're starting to, the culture's starting to swing a little bit.
And before we get our final break in, your approach is, if you put on a Lamar uniform, you have a role on that team.
Absolutely, and we were talking about that with our scout team. In our scout team, guess what? You come to Lamar and you're a freshman, you're on scout team. The expectation is extraordinary effort on scout team, because you're making us better every single week, and you're making yourself better. And a lot of our young guys have embraced that role, and it's so important. And so we try to pat those guys on the back. We had 2 guys from the team every week. We have scout team players of the week. Gave them a hat, and they'll suit out for the game Saturday night. So just you want to reward those guys for great effort, but those are the unsung heroes on your team.
Going to get our final break in, again talking Lamar University football. Coach Blane Morgan Show. We're at Little Woodrow's, back on News Talk 560 KLVI. Harold Mann with you, back out at Little Woodrow's Colonnade Shopping Center, the host of the Coach Blane Morgan Show each and every Wednesday night. Come on out, check it out. See us on Wednesday. We'll be back here next Wednesday talking about a big win over Northern Colorado, who comes to town on Saturday, 6 o'clock kickoff. And then after this week, looking down the road on the home schedule, on October 1st, you have Houston Baptist, the 22nd Prairie View, 29th Nichols, November 5th, Southeastern Louisiana, all afternoon games. This is an evening game coming up. your preference as a coach, with a six, as we look over here, is that 6 o'clock kickoff or afternoon kickoff?
Yeah, we had this talk at the Southland. There's a athletic director, a head coaches kind of meeting, and during that it was like what the head coaches prefer, and then what the athletic, kind of a back and forth of what time do you guys like? If you poll college football coaches across America, they love playing at noon. I mean, it would be the Big Ten. 11 a.m. You're home. And a college football coach, you coach it, but you love watching it too. So you love going, going home and hanging out, and being with your family, and watching ball. And I spent 5 years at my last job. Every single week was 7:30 p.m. on the West Coast.
So 9:30 back here.
Yes. So you talk about long days now, and then imagine the road trips. So I'm excited after this weekend, to be able to play in the afternoon, and I think our guys will enjoy that as well.
Well, usually in southeast Texas, when you're talking September on a Saturday afternoon at 3 o'clock, it's pretty uncomfortable.
Yeah, I think our defense went out and did a walkthrough. We go in the morning. So we've changed our schedule this year, and we're practicing in the morning. So the last 2 mornings have been phenomenal. Right. I mean, it has been so nice. It feels like our practice. Maybe that's the reason our practices have been so. There's been so much energy and enthusiasm. It was like, gosh, it's been perfect. Like 65, 70 degrees, but in the afternoon it's still cranking up a little bit.
The rest of the work week, we have, of course, you have tomorrow and Friday before game day on Saturday.
Yeah, and tomorrow, I'm huge on family, so our coaches will take their kids to school. I've got donuts with Daddy tomorrow morning that's an event at my kids' school, so we'll go eat and hang out with my kids. That'll be exciting.
Now, do you bring enough donuts?
I don't think I have to bring them. I think I just got to bring my kids and show up.
Okay, so I thought maybe you stopped by the old donut shop and went walking in there with those donuts with the red Cardinal frosting on them. And
yeah, no, I think I just have to show up and be present. And so our coaches love Thursdays and practicing in the morning. Like a lot of coaches stay all hours of the night and all that, and we're fairly efficient, and so our guys get to go home. I mean, we're up there early in the morning, five and some change.
Well, you guys are a young coaching staff for the most part, meaning there's young kids. The kids are young. So.
Yeah, so if they've got baseball games in the off season, if they've got events for their kids, then that's just the way we're going to do it. You don't want to miss those things with your family, and I want our coaches to be exceptional fathers as well. Good and try to be good husbands, even though football season is what it is.
Well, and we'll have we had her on last year. We're going to have her on again sometime this year to talk about the life of a wife of a football coach, and they're a big part of it as well.
Yeah, you should just have a couple segments with Mandy, my wife, and then Kelly, who's our defense. You'll get a kick because she's actually a coach's kid.
Oh, really?
So Matt Weichard's wife, Kelly, her dad was a high school football coach in Ohio. So yeah, so
a coach's daughter married
a coach. Yeah, so that'd be pretty cool to have those guys on the show.
Well, we'll do that later on. Just a couple minutes to go here. So tomorrow morning, and then team-wise, what takes place between now and kickoff?
Yeah, and what we try to do is try to keep everything in routine, and so we go fast Friday. So we go fast on Friday for about an hour, and what the thought is, we go this morning, so they get about 48 hours off their bodies, and then what we'll do is, so they're going down, they'll ramp back up on Friday morning leading into kickoff, and hopefully, and our guys say that they felt real, and that's something new for us. And they say that their bodies have felt really good with that routine. And then we'll have our Friday night evening dinner, which we try to feed them, put a lot of food into them, and then a walkthrough and a breakfast on Saturday morning leading into the game. And And then at that point, it's a new routine because it'll be at home.
Right.
And so we're not getting off a bus and walking through. They'll be coming from the pregame meal in their dorms. So but we're excited. We're so pumped to be at home. I mean, it's just I selfishly get to sleep in your own bed, and our kids get to sleep in their own beds, and so we'll be hopefully our guys. I know I will be charged up for the game on Saturday night.
All right, Coach, thank you so much. Looking forward to see everybody come out to Provo-Humphrey Stadium Saturday night. It is a 6 o'clock kickoff with the Cardinals in Northern Colorado. If you can't make it, we're on the air at 5:30 at the 6 o'clock kickoff again. Get out, support your Cardinals. We'll see you Saturday at Provo-Humphrey Stadium and back here next Wednesday night.
Awesome.
That's going to do it. Thanks to Chelsea back in the studios. I'm Harold Mann. Good night, everyone.